So this is Sridhar. I'm a faculty at the International Institute of Information Technology, Bangalore, India. I'm going to talk a little bit about the paper that we have co-authored for IIIT Access. So as usage of artificial intelligence technologies across industries, societies and countries happen, there is a growing need for creating large marketplaces to host and transact artifacts which are required for building algorithms. There are already many initiatives both by industry as well as by countries such as India in creating these AI marketplaces. So these AI marketplaces primarily host and transact crowdsourced data sets that are available for model builders and application developers. When such marketplaces build up, there is often a need for regulating the marketplace so that it functions appropriately. While stringent regulations will inhibit innovation in the marketplace, self-regulation puts the onus on the stakeholders to correct themselves if there are any deviations. Our work in this paper basically analyzes the behavior of such a marketplace using agent-based modeling under varying regulatory conditions. The results indicate that very stringent regulation often affects negatively the production of good quality artifacts in the marketplace and hence shall be avoided by regulators and policymakers. On the other hand, self-regulated learning stakeholders are needed for the marketplace to produce good quality artifacts. So we hope that our work provides a tool for regulators and policymakers to discern and watch out unwanted behavior in such AI marketplaces, at the same time encouraging the proliferation of good quality artifacts for building better AI models for the society at large.
So we'll give an overview of our paper, Market Dynamics and Regulations of a Crowdsourced AI Marketplace. So in the traditional AI marketplace, there are typically four different types of stakeholders: the content creators, the content annotators, who annotate that particular content which has been created by the content creators. Once the content is annotated, it goes to the AI marketplace, which is used by the model builders and content users for application building. So in general, the artifacts go through this particular process. Curated content gets labeled and categorized and annotated, and after that it goes into the models and applications. Now, as discussed, we are actually finding out the effects of different types of regulation. For example, the first is when no regulator is present and the market corrects by itself any of the imperfections, normally referred to as self-regulation. In the second type of regulation, there is a regulator, but the regulator can often be passive. The regulator monitors any imperfections and then flags it so that the market can correct by itself. And in the third type of regulation, there is an active regulator who monitors, flags, but also penalizes if the stakeholders continue to abuse their power and make the market imperfect. In general, in the AI marketplace, quality plays a very important role, and therefore one of the important aspects of regulation is to prescribe a minimum quality standards. So penalties, flagging and monitoring are being done by the regulator if the minimum quality of service set by the regulator is not met. So pictorially, our model looks at an oligopsony market wherein there are many producers, because in the AI marketplace the artifacts are created by the crowd. There are relatively fewer number of consumers who are basically model builders and application developers. Now, for each of the data set that is produced and put into the marketplace, there is a price quality attribute which is defined. The consumers retrieve this particular data sets according to their price and quality preference. Now, as we have discussed before, the regulator can be active or passive. The producer agents themselves can learn, in the case of self-regulation, to alter the price and quality of the products they produce into the marketplace. So there are self-learning producers that we model in this particular paper. There is also a rating feedback which is provided by the consumer agents when they consume the data sets, so that it acts as a guidance for the producers to alter their quality and price. One of the main results that we have found in our extensive simulation is what happens to the quality of the artifacts in the AI marketplace under different conditions of regulation. So as we can see here, in the case of a passive regulator who monitors and flags but not penalizes, when the regulation becomes stricter and stricter, for example, the regulator poses harder and harder quality standards, in general, the quality of the artifacts continue to decline because the producers are not able to match up to the expectations of the regulator with respect to producing quality artifacts. And the same holds good in the case of an active regulator who penalizes on finding some of the imperfect data sets, the producers. But the producers sometimes, right, they can actually wake up and increase the quality of the artifacts so that they are not penalized anymore. So this is a very important aspect. We should have regulation, but the regulation should be such that it does not affect the appropriate functioning of the marketplace. So what we want to conclude is that the challenge before us is to harvest the positive uses of AI and mitigate the malicious effects for better life for all. We hereby acknowledge Facebook for the AI Ethics Research Grant awarded to the authors and the paper in 2019. Thank you.